Hello, I'm Tim Noah. I am Senior Product Designer on the Growth team, originally fulfillment, but we've kind of merged now into the Growth team. And I'll be presenting an improved trial sign-up flow for GitLab.com users. So this is particularly for GitLab.com users. And this was the first project I took over on the fulfillment team after moving from Secure. So it was a learning experience for me, and thoroughly enjoyable, thoroughly challenging, but I hope you enjoy the presentation. So the business goal and the mission. Ultimately, in any trial experience, you want to make it as seamless and as easy as possible. So the first step was to make it easier for users and existing users to sign up for a gold trial on GitLab.com. And the gold trial is the top tier package that we offer. So our creme de la creme, for use of a better term. The second point I wanted to raise was it reduces, we need to reduce, the amount of interactions. Originally, and the work I'm going to show you prior to the work that was accomplished by fulfillment, was originally 37 steps, or interactions rather. And the key word is interaction. So an interaction is measured by clicking a button, inputting into a field, and so forth. Lastly, we needed to avoid interacting with the customer's portal during the trial sign-up. And many people may not actually know what the customer's portal is or how it operates in GitLab today. And I'll go on to explain just how we use it, and maybe that will give people a little bit more understanding as to the customer's portal and to the reasons why it's important to make sure that transactional processes are kept within GitLab.com rather than branching out. There's the original issue and also the UX scorecard that I created for this original piece of work. So who is this for? Interesting, my emojis have disappeared. That's a shame. I'm not too sure if you can see them, but I definitely can't. Two different personas, the buyer persona and the user persona. So basically every single person who uses GitLab.com is included in this piece of work. It's quite broad and it encompasses everybody that wishes to take advantage of our advanced features. I'm quite hurt by not the emojis not showing up. So the customer's portal. I spoke about it a second ago, but just to take a step back and just to give you an understanding for those that are not aware of how we currently how users interact with the customer's portal. So the customer's portal is a hub. It's a transactional hub for subscriptions, trials, renewals, and upgrading for actually the other way around. It should be, you can upgrade if you're on GitLab.com, and you have to go through a sales-assisted approach for self-managed users. So the idea around the customer's portal is that the user first engages with any purchase flow through the customer's portal. So if you want to create a new subscription, you have to go through the customer's portal. Originally a new trial, and renewals for a GitLab.com user are tricky, mainly because the process right now is slightly broken. So if you were to leave everything as it is, once you create your new subscription or license for self-managed users, the license will automatically renew unless you turn it off. But if you turn it off, it's essentially canceling your subscription, which is not a good approach. So I've left that line in there as red, but it's not really in the best place right now. But I know that Mike and some of the growth team are tackling this as we speak. So I know that I think Kevin is working on some iterations to this. The reason why this is tricky, as I'll go on to explain, is because the customer's portal has its own design aesthetic, and it's quite dated, so it hasn't had much love of today. So it's important that a user feels at home and safe when they're going through any transactional process, and I'll go on to explain why this is important. So the original trial user flow for a new user. the starting point, the entry point, it starts with marketing. So at the time of starting this work, the marketing website looked like this on the left-hand side. There was a clear call to action to start a trial. You click on that orange button and it directs you into a tabbed experience. This is the home of starting a trial via marketing. There were other entry points, but just for the purposes of this presentation, I'll guide you through this example. So when I land on this page to the right, where do I go and what am I looking at? There isn't really any understanding of whether or not that user who clicked on start a GitLab trial is actually wanting to start a self-managed trial, or they want to start a GitLab.com trial. So hiding information is probably not the best approach in this scenario. And so a user has to click through, because it was originally set to the GitLab self-managed tab. And I've just shown you an example of when a user clicks through into the GitLab.com tab. So this is how it originally looked. And if a user was to click on start your trial, the call to action, just at the bottom of that page, they will go into a decision phase. Some of the questions that they asked themselves, okay, so I need to register. And at the end of registering, going through all of these steps, your first name or your full name, your username, email confirmation, password, accepting the terms of service and privacy policy, and all of the other inputs and the captcha. Once you click register, you then have to confirm your email. So you're taken immediately away from the trial process, which is annoying, and it's also a friction point. You know, it's important that users feel as though they're kept in this this kind of funnel, this flow where they don't have to switch and change browsers or browser tabs rather. So when they open up their email, they click on confirm your account. And once they confirm their account, they then have to log in again. So they have to go through, enter in their username, enter in their password, and sign in. And then what happens when they sign in, going back to the customers portal, on the right-hand side, they're presented with the customers portal lead generation form. So I'm taken away from GitLab.com and I'm placed into the customers portal, which has a kind of mix between marketing, aesthetic, but it has its own branding, its own kind of styling, color systems, and so forth. Users can feel lost during this process. So that was important to fix. And so just to take another step back, at this point, I have been on the marketing website. I've then gone into a GitLab.com experience where I'm interacting with pajamas.com elements, registration forms, and so forth. I then go into my email. I come back into GitLab.com. I then get presented with the customers portal, which looks like nothing I've experienced up until this point. So after going through all of those lead generation steps, your first name, last name, work email, your company name, phone number, all of these things are mandatory. So at the time, you couldn't skip any of these things. You had to enter in all of them. So if a user was to click start your free trial, they would go on to this page on the left-hand side on the customers portal, where we are presenting them with the opportunity to start a free trial for either a group or their personal account. But before I go into that, even before this stage, if you look back at the UX scorecard or the original issue, you'll see that there are a number of bugs. A user could get trapped into an infinite loop because on some occasions we were asking them to create a customers portal account. And yeah, you can create a customers portal account as well as logging in via GitLab.com. So there's quite a high level of friction and confusion. And even at this point, if I just direct your attention to select your group or personal account, it's a little tricky here because I haven't really given the user any affordance as to what a group is, what a personal account is. And if I've just created my account, I couldn't have created a group. So there really isn't any point in asking me to create a group at this point. Nonetheless, if I go forward with the trial and I click on start a trial and apply it to my personal account, my custom namespace, I'm presented with this confirmation screen on the right hand side. So I'm told that I'm on a gold plan. When it expires, and then immediately told that I can't downgrade, and then I'm told also that you know, I can upgrade if I want to. There's no real onboarding or engagement with the product at this point, and I can definitely see how a user can feel lost. So after this, going through the start of the work and figuring out how to kind of make this whole process streamlined and a lot more directive for users going through this process, I started to do a little bit of competitor analysis, going through Xerox, Harvest, Atlassian, and GoToMeeting, and what there was a number of other ones as well. There were three key things that I noticed that that they all shared. The good ones, the ones that were minimal, informative, and directive. The ones that were directional but not overly informative. So there's a balance to be had between creating a funnel where you're sending a user through and also giving them just as much information as they need to guide them through their process. And so I took some of those learnings on into some of the proposals that I shared with the team. So the new trial for a new user. So this is live, and it went live a couple of milestones ago. And I'll start with the marketing entry point. And I'll talk a little bit about testing and how we came to this point just after this point. Originally, information was hidden behind tabs, and the user had to click through. An NVC approach on the right-hand side was to open that information out. So it's definitely not where I would like it to be, but it's definitely a lot clearer for users who are coming from the home page and directly into the start a free trial, the initial stages of starting a free trial between GitLab.com and a self-managed experience.
Hey, Tim. So we're coming up on like 3 minutes. I want to make sure we get to like the key points you want to share with everybody.
Sure thing. I'm almost done. I promise. The registration page. So there were four key things on the registration page. Remove the to help users focus. We removed the ability that they have to read the information that was originally on the sign up page previously. The header bar now fits in with GitLabs.com's core styling, so that users feel at home. There is now a soft email confirmation flow, so you don't have to firstly confirm your email immediately. You can go through that at a later stage, and that was actually going on during this process of me designing this. Auto-generated usernames. So we've now spit out first name and last name due to how we lead gen and how we gather that information to Salesforce, and that is now generating your username. The lead gen is now solely in GitLab.com, so we now do not take people into the customers portal, which is great news for customers and for ourselves, because it means a greater experience. And lastly, we then present them with the ability to not only select their own personal group, but also the ability for them to create a new group right at this point. So instead of them having a blank area where they couldn't do anything before, they can now create a group and go forward with their trial. And on the right-hand side, we have a nicer looking trial experience or confirmation experience for them. And just very, very briefly, I know I've kept you long, but just to finish up, the three key things for me, the overall interactions have changed from 37 to 22. And they all happen on GitLab.com, so we don't need to engage with the customers portal. And there has been a steady exponential rise in the amount of people completing a free trial since its launch, just at the end of October. And as you can see on the graph on the right-hand side, it's grown quite considerably. Things to improve. So we definitely need to tell people more information about a gold trial when they're signing up. We should have some more affordance to groups versus custom namespaces. And we should definitely look at onboarding techniques and how we can get people more engaged with the product. There was a larger discussion that I thought I had more time to engage with. What is an acceptable MVC for something like this when a process and a flow is so broken? but I'll leave that for another day, and we can probably talk about that async. Thank you so much, everyone. I just want a big shout out to everybody you mentioned there, but a truly special shout out to Mate. A lot of this work is based on some of the work that he originally did. And so I appreciate you, Mate. Thank you so much.